another pedo in high places was exposed.
I wanted to talk about the San Francisco school board.
Yeah,
thing.
I have not heard a single thing about this.
Okay, so
is this where a bunch of like people got fired or?
Yes. So here's what happened. Now I saw this.
There wasn't any news from San Francisco being picked up by my, by the radio antenna.
Well, this is national now. Like this is something
my dog fence wasn't picking that signal up, so I didn't hear it.
Yeah, it's gonna. So what happened was, and I didn't know this. I didn't know this was even a thing.
Neither was my refrigerator
until they made it a thing. So what happened is that in San Francisco, they basically had a recall election of 3 members of the school board.
Was it that Wiener guy? No, that guy's
no. You never heard of any of these people.
Okay. Well, Wiener I never heard of until it was like, he passed the law like making the gay sex with minors legal.
That guy probably supported the recall. But
because he's a demon rat?
No.
All right.
No.
Go
this
ahead.
recall was supposedly, it is being framed as, and it is contributing to a narrative that I am seeing increasingly in the media. And both mainstream Republicans and the mainstream Republican media is doing this hardcore, and then sort of like centrist people like Joe Scarborough are doing it. And then like now he's a faggot, but he's like centrist from their perspective, right? Yeah. And then like you're getting like some Democrats are also picking up on this and amplifying it. And the idea is wokeness is making the Democrats toxic. Okay? And so these 3 school board members were removed because they were too woke. And so the story goes that they were removed. There was a recall election. The parents revolted and recalled these 3 school board members.
Wow.
Only one of whom was white. One was some like mulatto lady, and one was some like Spanish looking dude, and one was like a woke like white chick, like, and they're mad because they're like, okay, you during the coronavirus pandemic, you did not focus on reopening schools and like fixing the children's education. You focused on renaming the schools. They picked 44 schools that they wanted to rename because they were named after historical oppressors. They wanted to spend $1 million to repaint a mural with George Washington on it that they say also had like racial stereotypes on it. And they wanted to, and other things like that. And so now, so they were recalled. So they had an Indian parent, an Indian single dad named Shiva something or other. And then some single mom who was also probably not white. Like they got them to do this recall campaign.
I want to know everything about this Indian single dad.
I
want to know how this
story about this.
I want to know how this happened. I want to know what bobs were opened.
So what's
and
really
where they
funny
went after it was my god.
What bobs were opened?
Right.
How did you get a child, Sanjeev?
So what's really funny, and now here we have now it's coming out. CNN has a story just today. More than $1.9 million effort that ousted 3 from San Francisco school board members from their positions Tuesday was funded in large part by Silicon Valley area billionaires, records show. Now, here's something else that I noticed in one little story, just a little tidbit. One of the schools that they were trying to rename, there's a school named after Thomas Jefferson, a school named after George Washington. One of the schools was named after Dianne Feinstein. Now, I'm not saying that that's the only reason, right? Because I don't think it necessarily is. And I think also additionally, if they wanted to do the others and not that one, they would just talk to these people and get them to just not rename that one, right? But,
so are they not going to rename these schools now, or
no? They're not going to rename. I mean, I don't know what they're going to do or not going to do.
Okay,
but they might eventually do it, but they're certainly not going to rename Dianne Feinstein. That's for sure. But
the building where your child is going to learn how to get his dick cut off and take hormone replacement therapy, and then learn that like American history began in 1619 when the first niggers arrived, and you're guilty of everything since then, and you need to die. That building needs to have someone like Thomas Jefferson's name on the front of it. Otherwise, it's just unacceptable.
Well, this is kind of my thing.
Was that too wet blankety?
No. That's exactly right. Like this is kind of my thing. Is that it's like this is another one of these things that what we were talking about. A thing where you can have like now. I don't know if they're doing Let's Go Energy behind this.
if the guidance counselor is telling you that you need to accept your child's new gender, or he's calling CPS, that guidance counselor can't be working in the Harvey Milk Middle School. That's too far. Too far.
Right. Well,
has to be at like the George Washington Academy.
The thing is, though, what it is that, again, it's, first of all, it's San Francisco. So, like, you know, the people that were recalled.
Can we rename the Tenderloin? It's just so creepy.
Yeah. The people that were recalled are out there, like, going crazy, hair on fire, like, this is white supremacy, this is white supremacist, this is white supremacist that did
Wish
this.
a nigga would.
But the thing is, then, of course, what's happening is, and Dave Weigel of the Washington Post is the one who's reporting on this, and he's like, the white supremacy allegation just isn't sticking. And it's like because everyone's pointing out how diverse the coalition of parents that voted for the recall is. And so the lesson here is the very subtle, or not so subtle lesson. The subtle, not subtle lesson here is it's there's a diverse coalition of people against wokeness.
Which is
and that's what like Republicans represent. And now, of course, if you look at this picture here, these are the kinds of signs that they had. Like when you see that
help
shit,
our children.
Yeah.
Recall SF board
schoolboard.org. You should go bring that site up.
What is that? A cancer warning? Looks like a
it's like a cigarette warning almost.
Yeah.
But when you see these signs, like $1.9 million went into this effort. Okay, so recall sfschoolboard.org. So when you see that kind of a thing, and you see Silicon Valley billionaires are contributing to it, it's like, well, now I could see like the energy behind. I could see like there you go.
Oh, it's an ad paid for by blah blah blah.
Oh, okay, yeah. So they're actually having to say that this is paid. This is a paid for thing, right? So this is actually a thing that's a little bit more obvious, and this is not something that actually captured the attention of the country generally because it's in San Francisco, and everyone knows that San Francisco is filled with libtards. So there were libtards. So there were libtards that were behind this, right? There were libtards that agreed with this. And now what they're saying is what the people. Oh my god!
No!
All right. What the people that were recalled is saying is like this is white supremacy, it's racism, and one of them showed this email on her Twitter that was like you a stupid nigger or something like that, and I was like yeah, and of course it was from like a burner email account. I'm like yeah, I'm sure you didn't just send that to yourself. I'm quite sure you actually received that, and they're like we are being ousted for.
Or that email was from Rod Dreher.
And the thing is, here's the thing.
He knows how to do that.
Right, yes, yeah. But here's the thing.
One of my Asian fans wrote to the school board member, "You dumb nigger."
It could very well be.
It's right.
Like if somebody wrote that, it probably wasn't Asian.
It's an Asian fan of Rod Dreher.
You stupid nigger.
You stupid nigger.
Your stupid nigger skin is why you stupid.
Sent from my Noda account.
Of course, the language in this phony email made me. It's like kind of thing that a libtard would think a racist would say, rather than something a racist would actually say. So, the point here is that what this is basically expect to see more of this. Is what I'm saying. And sure, you might like the fact that these rabid so-called wokey or SJW, I'm not using SJW anymore, wokey people are being removed, and they are, and this is because the shift is going in this direction. Like, Jews are shifting to the anti-woke position, but as they do so, they are going to pinpoint and ostracize the white liberals that glommed onto this because it was the trendy thing to do and is the thing that they thought they had to do in order to maintain their status and their privileges. And they're going to point the finger at them and blame them and like cast them out. Now, some of these people weren't white, but generally speaking, this is where this is directed at. And so they had people of color do this. Now, if white nationalists had started a petition in San Francisco to remove these school board members because they're anti-white, and said it's not because they're not doing enough for COVID or not because they're not doing enough for this, that. It's because they're anti-white, because they hate white people. They would do everything they could to crush it and have people have nothing to do with it, right? But billionaire money went behind this. That means Jews. I'm sorry. When you say Silicon Valley billionaires, you're talking about Jews. Okay? That's who's doing it. So this is a Jew-approved effort, and it was a Jew-approved effort because Jews are taking up anti-wokeness, and they are locating it with anti-whiteness. They are making these things go together in people's minds. So by hating woke, you hate white. Because who's woke? Well, it's dumb white liberals. And this is messaging I've seen pushed consistently in conservative circles. And they are saying that these people are, and I believe that the people were in the school were mad. They were mad that like their kids aren't going to school, and these people are here talking about renaming the schools rather than trying to figure out how to actually get the kids educated. But I'm like, from our perspective, we're well past that.
I've got a punchier story that has much more obvious Jew influence involved.
Oh, okay. Wow. All right. Fine. So
I happened to catch this the other day.
How was this again?
This is related. This is incredibly related to what we're talking about. Don't promote Black Lives Matter to pupils, teachers told, and crack down on politics in the classroom. This is happening in the UK.
Mm-hmm.
So the Department of Education has decided that it's too divisive to be using the terms white privilege, and it's causing all kinds of problems. What do you think elicited this response?
Muslim rape gangs.
Probably they told Jews they had white privilege.
During the Israel-Gaza conflict, yes, that kind of shit was happening. So now they have to tamp this stuff down because Jews are getting caught in the crossfire.
Right, just
specifically,
like we talked about
they're
last
saying that
show, too.
Being pro-Palestinian is effectively bullying Jews.
Yeah.
No, it is, yeah. And it's the same thing that happened at with that Brooklyn College thing, right?
Oh, good. I clicked read more, and I have a story about Social Security.
I think there's many purposes to this. One, there is the issue of Jews getting caught in the crossfire. But there's another issue of, like, white people getting abused is, like, could lead to they're basically doing managed white lashes. You know what I mean? Like, they're afraid of the white lash. And what Jews are doing is they're like, okay, we've created all these conditions of white people getting shit on. We give all these people incentives and give them all this power, and they shit on white people and they abuse them. Now white people are getting mad. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to jump out in front of this white lash that's coming, make it about not being mean to Jews, and then accuse the people that are doing the stuff that we initially started of being white. So I'm like, we're tired of these white liberals using racial justice issues to abuse Jews, and then you're going to have some conservatives out there holding up signs and picketing, like, we don't want white liberals being mean to Jews.
Yeah.
And like, so that's basically what all this. And now that's kind of a more in your face version of what's going on, but subtly this is what's happening with all of these things, and you can see doing it in the UK too, and you see. This is why